My name is Remi Kende, and I was born in Kwara State in Nigeria. I got married in 2004 and had my first son in 2005. I migrated to Australia in 2008, and 6 months after that, my husband and my little son joined me. The migration process wasn't very difficult back then. In those days, it was relatively easier than what it is right now. Although I had to sit exams, but it was easier to get a job then than what it is now. And I had to do a lot of courses and seminars and even sit more exams. I find Australia very multicultural, and I meet people all over the world, like from all over the world, from different countries. But one thing I find really difficult initially when I came was the weather. The weather was very cold because Nigeria is quite tropical, very temperate region, and our temperatures usually between 27 and maybe 30, 32 degrees. And we only have dry and wet season. We don't have winter just like we had here. So it took me some time, to really adjust to the cold weather in Australia. I had my second son in 2009, and he's going to be 11 in May this year. Yeah, a few weeks to come. Yeah. And when I first came to Australia, people were usually surprised that, oh, you know how to speak English? Where did you learn English from? And I had to tell them, we speak English in Nigeria because we're colonized by the British, and English language is also our lingua franca. Initially, I used to get upset, but then I realized that there were some other countries that English was not the first language, or that maybe when the people came in, they didn't know how to speak English, and they had to learn English language here. But in Nigeria, we speak English language, and we're taught in English language. And also, I know that a lot of people didn't have a lot of information about Africa, and I had to, teach them and tell them. The picture people had was of maybe poor people, children dying of hunger, or people living on trees. And sometimes when I show, friends, there's a pictures of some cities in Nigeria, they're usually, very surprised. And I found out that the average person didn't really know much about Africa as a whole. But overall, I would say people in Australia are very friendly and very warm, and I haven't really experienced a lot of racial discrimination, although there has been some subtle cases. But I always say that in every culture, you have good and bad people everywhere. We used to live in Gippsland when we first came in, and I worked at the Latrobe Regional Hospital for some years, and then we moved to Alexandra, which was a very small town with a population of 2,000, and we spent only 18 months there before we moved to Shepparton, and we've been living in Shepparton now. We got our citizenship in 2012 and officially became Australians then. I enjoy traveling and learning about other cultures and love reading as well and meeting people. One funny thing that I really that surprises me is the time concept. We have what we call African time. Like if you say a party is starting at 2 p.m., most people wouldn't get there until 5 p.m. Everybody knows, oh, they're not going to start that early. But on the side, and when Australians tell you maybe a program is starting at 2 p.m., it is 2 p.m. So it took me some time, to adjust and change that concept of African time and learn to use the right timing. Another thing I found a bit different is that in Africa, we don't call older people by their first name. So I really found it very difficult, or maybe a bit hard to adjust when like my children's friends will call me by my first name. I'm like, what? We either call people auntie or uncle. And I remember when my first son, when he came in at the daycare center, he called one of the ladies there auntie, and she had to tell him, of course, in a nice way, but I'm not your auntie. So it took me some time to explain to her that back in Nigeria, where we come from, we don't call older people by their first name. If they're older, we call them auntie or uncle, even if they're not blood related to us. Overall, I enjoy being in Australia, and the opportunities that I enjoy here is quite great. And I would say the past 12 years have been very, very exciting, although there's been some challenges here and there. But it's been a nice time, and I enjoy living in Australia. Thank you.